Let's take you straight to the Bridget Mabandla Justice College now, where we find our senior reporter, Canny Maphanga, who joins us now live. And Kenny, we had always known that Brown Mogotsi would at some stage return to the commission. I wonder where they'll pick off this time.
Indeed. Good morning to you, Yanda, and to the viewers at home. We are expecting Brown Mogotsi to take the stand at 9:30 a.m. as he returns back to the Commission. Certainly more information that is needed by the Commission from this alleged political fixer that is the key feature in the central allegations against the police minister, Senzo Mchunu, who is now on a leave of absence, and what that alleged proximity to alleged cartel members could have been if that is the case. Now, Yanda, what I think is different about Brown Mogotsi and the situation of Shadrack Sibiya and Sergeant Nkosi, the situations are quite similar in what is advanced about alleged middleman serving as the middle points between these high-profile figures and the alleged shadowy figures. But the difference with Shadrack Sibiya, Sergeant Nkosi, and Vusimuzi Cat Matlala is that, at least in the exchanges, you do see that some of them actually find reality in several different transactions or alleged events that have taken place. So the Commission is able to connect the dots a bit easier on those instances. But I think in the evidence of Brown Mogotsi in relation to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, the gaps are still there. They haven't been able to fully connect the conduct of Brown Mogotsi with the alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Cat Matlala in full to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, because we know that the meeting actually doesn't materialize in the end. So there's still questions as to whether was this individual acting on behalf of the police minister, Senzo Mchunu, or was he using his perceived close proximity to effectively milk Vusimuzi Cat Matlala dry up until his arrest, where he then spilled the beans about the alleged benefits that he was affording, or he believed to have afforded, to the police minister, Senzo Mchunu. But what's also interesting about the timing of Brown Mogotsi's evidence is that it takes place a week after we expected a crime intelligence official to take to the stand. However, they brought that sick note to bring their postponement bid. Of course, there was discussions about whether or not sick notes are being used to evade testimony, but be that as it may, it is believed that this particular witness could have been allegedly the handler of Brown Mogotsi, or at least someone that Brown Mogotsi may have pointed to say, this is my handler, allegedly, when I was allegedly conducting those intelligence operations as a contact agent, if we could put it that way, because that's the premise or foundation of his evidence, that in all times when he was conducting these various interactions that do not bode well for the police minister, Senzo Mchunu, as well as the ANC as a political party, due to the events that were involved in those interactions, and of course himself as a political fixer, allegedly, as he was claiming that he was conducting these as part of an overall intelligence operation. And it is that claim that is still being put to the test. As he continued to give that evidence, he made several claims that we've heard he's now withdrawn at the ad hoc committee. And possibly we expect that that consequence will follow here at the Madlanga Commission, that the grand CIA agent claims that he made against the king of the Amazulu nation, that is King Misizulu, and KZN top cop Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, will also equally be withdrawn before the Madlanga Commission. However, we know that the task will not be easy here, because an explanation will be demanded from Brown Mogotsi why he offered that information unprovoked if he knew it was untrue, and what exactly changed from the moment he stated it here to when he withdrew it before the ad hoc committee, and where we expect that he might withdraw it before the commission. So certainly a lot more questions for Brown Mogotsi, and as he appears before the commission, as I've stated earlier, the situation is quite similar, or the circumstances, if we could put it that way, are quite similar of that of Shadrack Sibiya and Sergeant Nkosi, as well as Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and Brown Mogotsi. However, I think in the latter, there's still many gaps that need to be filled in order to understand where the possible connection could be, if it does exist. Whereas in the evidence of Sibiya, it is quite clear there are several conversations where Sergeant Nkosi is the common denominator. And then, of course, there are events that take place that directly deal with Sibiya, where those exchanges find meaning in his actual life, such as the Impala Gates, where there are discussions about a delivery, and then you later see in Sabia's messages to Lieutenant General Sentumela that he actually did have impalas on his property and they had sadly died. So in those instances, you're able to connect the dots, but I think in the instance of Senzo Mchunu and Brown Mogotsi, there's still a lot of gaps that need several answers with regards to what that alleged relationship and alleged benefit was between the pair. We'll be starting now with that particular evidence to hear from Brown Mogotsi what else he could offer to the Commission.